Hello, Travels with Dottie. I felt the bump. I'm just leaving, so give me a second. I'm gonna go back and make sure everything's okay on the hitch. It's a good thing I checked. So you're wondering, where did he go? Let's track my face again. What happened? What's he doing? It's an important lesson. That's why I left the camera going. Catch my breath for a second here. And here's a good lesson. I went through my checklist, very thorough. There is a charger for my Ryobi batteries that on my final thing on the checklist is do one more 360, and that was sitting on top of one of my wheels, and it would have been destroyed had I left it there. Then just now, I don't know if you heard it, if it was audible on the microphone, but as I pulled forward to leave, I heard a thump. Got out and I looked, and if you're familiar with weight distribution systems, there are two bars from the trailer to the truck, and one of the bars popped off. It wasn't on correctly. So big lesson there is, if you hear a noise, stop. Don't assume it's nothing. It's almost always something in RV life. Do not ignore sounds. And I'm so glad I did. So I checked the other one and we should be good. I am slowly pulling out here and I'm going to roll the window down a little bit. Listen for any aberrant noises. And you know, I'm not traveling for a long distance today. I am traveling over a mountain pass with a very questionable road under construction. You'll see as we go through this. I'm on my way to Eagle Nest, New Mexico. I am traveling from Guadalupe, New Mexico, which is Coyote Creek, and I think the total trip is going to be, I think, like something like 35 to 40 miles. I don't know for sure. Somewhere around there. It'll take at least an hour. And that was a good lesson for me and for you. I heard kind of this, I hope you could hear it. I'll try to enhance it when I do editing. You hear this kind of bop when I first went. It's like, and it was not properly, you take a lever, you put it up there, you put a cotter pin in to hold it into place, and I'm not quite sure exactly what happened, but it wasn't good. It wasn't attached, it was just lying there, so I redid it, made sure it's the proper way. I'm going to be going pretty slow this whole trip, so I'm sure I'm going to be fine. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. It's in the low 60s right now. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. The temperature on the F-150 says 57. Kind of doubt that. I think it's a little low. It's probably more like 65, if I had to guess. The temperature, outside temperature sensor on the F-150 is not terribly reliable. George is adequately sedated. This is, I hope, adequately sedated. Used the gabapentin again, and I did order new medications, and I asked the vet to do another drug that's a little bit stronger, because the gabapentin, the first time I used it, she got sick a little bit right away, not as bad as I don't want her to be sick at all. So the medication that I got from a friend that worked with her really well, we're going to do that. The vet agreed to prescribe that medication. That'll be delivered today where I'm headed. I couldn't get it before I left on this trip. So here we are, kind of the entry exit for the state park is on kind of a little bit of a treacherous curve here on the highway. We need to just make sure there's nobody coming. We come to a full stop. We look both ways, and we're good. And you'll see in the camera here, in about a couple of miles, you'll see how the road narrows. It might be that it's one-way traffic. I think there's a pilot car that you follow during the week. There was not that on the weekend, but I hear that there's a pilot car that takes you through when they're actually doing construction, and I think they probably are today. So we'll see. And this is territory that if you're a regular, you've seen this drive before. So I won't, repeat the same things. It's beautiful. You can see it. A lot of people like the Dottie cam. Some people like the Dottie cam. Some people like just seeing the driving view, and other people like seeing me talk. So you got all three today. It's going to be hell rendering, meaning in the editing process, especially for some reason iPhone footage. When I go into my editing CapCut editing software on the desktop, it really bogs down and just takes hours. But if I do it on the iPhone version, it does better. So I probably will do it that way. But I don't want to bore you to tears. So anything, I had something in mind I wanted to talk about on the trip, and don't mind if I pause. It's only because we might be getting through a tricky part of the drive, and I'll need to pay attention, but that'll probably be obvious in the front-facing camera. I've been thinking a lot about my channel and where it's going, what I'm doing with it, and I was doing religiously a video every single day, a long-form video every single day, as opposed to a short. Long form is, if it's not a short, it's a long form, even if it's a minute and a half. If it's horizontal, it's a long form. If it's vertical, it's usually a short, but I won't complicate that. And then I said, well, I'm not going to do videos after I leave court every day after I leave courtside, and I kind of have. Now, you might, if you're a regular, you might notice I miss a day here and there, but lately, for sure, I've been doing a video, definitely a short every day. I've got my positive news, positive information short that I do every single morning. I think this morning was consecutive day number 137 or 138, I can't remember. But that I'm definitely going to continue. Even if I don't get views on it, it's a good thing for me to do to start my day, look in the internet for something uplifting and positive, and that's good for me to do. So I'm going to continue that no matter what. And I've been doing pretty much a long form video almost every day, and I'm going to continue that. I'm going to try to do, and so if someone like me does a long form video every day, the thing that's going to be the most comfortable for me is like a video log or vlog, they call it, that is going to be sort of everyday things. So the expectation is I'm not going to go out looking for content and pursuing it. I don't do YouTube for a living, so I'm not going to go to a particular place just to get the content. So that's not what it's going to be like. The guy I kind of want to emulate a little bit is Adam the Woo. And Adam the Woo, his current channel is, I think, called The Daily Woo, W-O-O-O. And Adam stumbled onto YouTube kind of the same way I did in the very beginning. I've been a YouTube channel and producing some content since 2009, believe it or not. But I didn't get like any, I'd say, serious about it until I retired, and that was December 1st, 2021. So coming up on this December, it'll be 3 years. And he had a video today where he was talking about how his YouTube channel has turned into his primary way of making a living. He has 750,000 subscribers, and I think over 2 million views a month. And if he's getting ad revenue at the same rate I am, and he probably gets it higher, that's, you know, $6,000-7,000 a month in income. And he probably has, since he's a more popular channel, advertisers probably pay more for him, so it's probably in excess of that number, I would guess. And he was musing, how did I get here? I didn't have a plan. It took, I think, from 2016 is when he started. Very awkwardly, kind of, we all start awkwardly, most of us do anyway. And he said, and he's kind of humble, he says, how did I get to be this moderately successful channel? I think it's a very successful channel, but he calls it moderately successful. And what he decided was, oh, here's some curves up here, so I'm gonna have to kind of pay attention here. The road's still in really good shape here. I think they did this construction. I was through here last year, and I think this is a part where they were doing pretty heavy construction. And it's very smooth. It's curvy, but it's smooth. But soon it's not going to be. Trust me. In another mile or so. He said, what I attributed to is consistency. The Daily Woo, that channel, he's been producing a long-form video every day, whether he's traveling, doing adventurous, exciting things, or he's hanging around home and doing what he calls the walk and talks. I like the drive and talk. He likes the walk and talk. I like the walk and talk too. I've done both. But what he talks about with his channel like that is something that really resonates with me. He has an audience of people that like him and like listening to him talk about stuff. And that's not easy to find. You know, if you're a layperson like me that doesn't have any sort of skills in terms of acting or presentation, you will oftentimes, I'll talk in a video, and if you take a shot every time you hear you'll die of alcohol poisoning 5 minutes into the video. And that's a classic error in presentation. Is, I think I've heard them called word whiskers, where people develop the habit, people like me, develop the habit, when I don't know what the next word is I'm going to say, instead of pausing, like I just did there was a pause, there's something in me that says, just pausing isn't okay. I have to fill the void with a noise, and the noise is often, you know. So here we are. So it's one-way traffic, so we're going to have to wait here until the traffic comes back the other way. And let's see. I'm looking at my rear view camera, making sure there's somebody beside me. If there isn't, behind me. And if there isn't, what I do is I put on my four-way flashers until someone comes in behind me, so I don't want anyone running into the back of me. So anyway, where was I? To find a large group of people like Adam has done, it takes years of exposing yourself to hundreds of thousands of people on YouTube to find that small little group of people that are like, I like listening to this guy. It's kind of like it's the reason why I probably watch Adam's videos every day, because I don't care what the content is. I'm interested in what he's got to say, whatever it is he's got to say. And that's, I think, kind of what I'm going after. And the fact is that, you know, they may put your video out on YouTube in the algorithm to deliver it to 10,000 screens. And they have what they call the click-through rate, which is what percentage of those people choose to click and watch your video. And a really good one for me is 10% or a little bit higher. That's unbelievable. An okay one is 5%, and a lot of videos are 2 to 3%. And then of the people that click on it, a lot of people start watching it and think, this isn't what I thought it was, and they click off pretty soon. So there's another whole layer. Let's say I'm lucky and I get an average of 5% of the people click, but maybe 75% bail in the first couple of minutes because they're not interested. And then you're down to a really small number of people that click on your videos and watch them halfway, three-quarter, or all the way through. And when you start out of those 10,000 images of you that go out there, kind of, hey, here's Travels with Dottie, the people that make it all the way through videos and say, hey, I want to hang around, I want to subscribe and watch most of what this guy does, is, going to be less than 1%, way less than 1%. I haven't really worked out the math, but it's an infinitesimal small number. So in order to get to Adam's numbers, you need years and years and years of that exposure to develop that really small group of people that relate to you. And what happens is you relate to the viewers as well, because you resonate with the things that they say in the comments. It's really cool. Here comes the other traffic and the follow car, so we're not waiting that long. So I would expect, wow, these people are coming down the hill really fast. Wow. It seems really fast from my perspective. There's an old Airstream. That's pretty cool. And like a fifth wheel. So I like it that it's one way and we have a car to follow, because it's a lot safer. Someone went off the edge here on one of the big curves the other day. The lady that owns the RV park that I'm headed to in Eagle Nest said, be really careful coming over that pass. Somebody went right off the edge. So here we are. I caught myself about to say and I said, you don't need to say you can have a moment of silence. That's okay if you don't know exactly what to say next, and I don't. I did want to continue to talk about the current thoughts about my channel. The other thoughts that I've shared in the past were, I'm passionate about a couple of things. And one is living life on the road as an RVer, in particular, if you want to narrow it, in retirement. Being able to do this on just a little bit of money and feeling financially secure, and feeling, what do I want to say, a sense of freedom and community. And it's hard for some people to understand that, how do you feel a sense of community when you people are all traveling in different directions? But it's true. There is a sense of community, even though you're not with these people most of the time. A good example of that is my last few videos. You've seen my friends Sally and Donna. Shalom on the Roam is Donna, and Sally Forth is my friend Sally. And we happened to be in the same campground for 2 weeks, or more than 2 weeks. We were 2 campgrounds back to back where we're in the same place. So I got to really, you see, like, they're in almost every video every day. And I get to really spend a lot of quality time with them for a couple of weeks, almost a month in this case. and I may not see them again for a long time. Now, in this case, it's not quite true. We're in the same area, but normally you'd be with people for a while and you'd split up. Quartzsite is a good example of that. I have lots of friends in Quartzsite, and all winter from November until I leave in March, I'm around friends that I think of kind of as my Quartzsite friends. And I spend a lot of time with them, and then I leave in March and I may not see them in person again until the following winter, but I'm still part of the community. I still can be in touch with them, and I am. And it's really cool. So I'm passionate about that. The other thing I'm passionate about is emotional health and, the evolution of being a human being, and how to navigate life, improving myself on a day-to-day basis. And there's a 12-step thing that's slogan that says progress, not perfection. So I'm into, even if it's a little bit of progress, I'm into progress. We all have things about ourselves that we don't go around bragging about, right? I had a video recently on giving out unsolicited advice and how that can damage friendships. And one of the reasons I did that video is because I found myself doing that with a friend and potentially damaging the relationship. But I'm getting better at it. I'm thinking more before I decide I'm going to give this person the benefit of my wisdom on something, especially if they're not asking for it. And at least I'm getting, so either I'm not saying anything or I'm seeking permission. That's an improvement for me. I still do it though. I still catch myself doing it. So it's progress, not perfection. And it's tied in with my, I'm retired, but I still do a very few hours a week as a licensed mental health counselor. I'm licensed in 3, soon to be 4 states where I can do virtual sessions, which is what everybody seems to want these days versus in-person therapy. But I get to talk about those kinds of topics with my clients, and I often will learn with them. So I'm really passionate about that kind of thing. And the theme for me personally, and I brought it into my therapy sessions when appropriate, is the theme of empathy and kindness. And I'm going to insert right here about a 1.5-minute clip of Governor Pritzker, of the governor of Illinois, and it's part of a commencement speech he made, and it's about this topic, and I think it's one of the coolest things I've seen in a really, really long time. And I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back right after that.
When we see someone who doesn't look like us, or sound like us, or act like us, or love like us, or live like us, the first thought that crosses almost everyone's brain is rooted in either fear or judgment, or both. That's evolution. We survived as a species by being suspicious of things that we aren't familiar with. In order to be kind, we have to shut down that animal instinct and force our brain to travel a different pathway. Empathy and compassion are evolved states of being. They require the mental capacity to step past our most primal urges. This may be a surprising assessment because somewhere along the way in the last few years, our society has come to believe that weaponized cruelty is part of some well-thought-out master plan. Cruelty is seen by some as an adroit cudgel to gain power. Empathy and kindness are considered weak. Many important people look at the vulnerable only as rungs on a ladder to the top. I'm here to tell you that when someone's path through this world is marked with acts of cruelty, they have failed the first test of an advanced society.
So here I am back, and I hope you enjoyed that clip. I think it's just such a cool thing. And if you saw, hopefully you saw it, because I don't think it's a copyrighted thing. I see it. A lot of people are putting this up on the internet. It's just a great message to send, and I think he would want people to hear his message. It's a wonderful thing about being, I think, about what I hope that the human race is aspiring to in its development. So that brought us through the whole construction. The whole construction thing. That's pretty cool. And it's 11:30. I probably will still arrive not before noon. I can't arrive before noon because that's the RV park said you'll have to come noon or later. And I said, well, I'll probably be there 12:01. This in front of us is we're going to go through two communities. One is Angel Fire, and Angel Fire is kind of at the end of this valley here. And Angel Fire is really a year-round tourist destination because they have like a world-class ski resort for the winter. They have, in the fall, they have hunting. And certainly, I'm sure, spring skiing. It's very high. It's like 8,000 feet. And the ski resort's even higher, obviously. We got a big, almost 90-degree corner here. My friend Deborah, author Deborah Dickinson, who many of you know, did the trip that I just showed you not long ago, and she did it during like a sleet storm. There was like white sleet on the road when she did it. Like, she's pretty tough. She is a tough lady. I would have been pretty nervous. You probably, the resolution on the camera isn't good enough for this, but this stretch of road with these big meadows, prairie dogs are constantly running in front of the truck because there are thousands and thousands of them in these fields, and they're constantly crossing the road. Here's a big dip. And we're through the dip. So she made it through like when it was storming, icy road, and oh my gosh, whole different experience. And that was nothing. And here's another 90-degree turn in the road. The speed limit's like 35 here. I'm going a little slow for the local people that are really trying to get somewhere important, but I can't really help that. I got kind of a okay, so we lost Dottie, and we lost Dottie because I'm reaching down to the GoPro. The GoPro has a overheating problem. The GoPro's good for, 10-minute, 15-minute shots, but over that, it heats up and it shuts down. And it drains battery very, very quickly. I recently read an article about the downturn at GoPro. I guess the heyday of that company, which is founded by an individual, was like 2014. They were the first ones in the action camera market, and they did well for many, many years, but they're don't have anywhere near the growth volume that they used to have. There's a lot of competition out there. And this isn't the latest model. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to pass close to a trailer just like me. Hello. All right, so we lost the picture of my face too, so the sound is going to be a little bit different because the only surviving camera at this point is the good old iPhone. It's still going, guys. It's still going. But the Osmo Pocket 3 has overheated because we're kind of going into the sun, and the sun was magnifying kind of through. And I'm going to take it off the dash so it can cool down so it doesn't get damaged. And here we have our left turn heading into Angel Fire. And I said 2 communities. Angel Fire is the first one, and the second one is where I'm staying, Eagle Nest, and I'll be showing you a lot of that because I'm going to be there for a minimum 2 weeks. And I got to tell you guys, I'm going to cut this video off here because, I don't know, I've been talking so much. I'm starting to feel like I'm about to get hoarse, feeling a little bit, throat's a little scratchy. So I'm going to stop talking. I'll just leave the video running so you can see me coming to Angel Fire, but I'm going to take a talking break. And Dottie is panting, so we need to turn up the AC a little bit for Dottie. I wonder how George is doing fine back there. Didn't get sick on the mountain road, which is good. We're kind of home free for getting sick because George usually gets sick on twisty mountain roads. So we're beyond that. Of these 2 communities, Angel Fire is a little bigger. It's got a grocery store that is not big, but for being out away from any urban area at all, it's a halfway decent grocery store. And the best Eagle Nest does is there's like a semi-large convenience store, several restaurants. It's on a lake, Eagle Nest. It's on a lake. There's a lot of like really popular fishing, a lot of fly fishing. There's more than one fly fishing shop in Eagle Nest. But if, to go into the get groceries, I'll have to drive it's 12 or 13 miles from Eagle Nest back into Angel Fire. As we go through Angel Fire, as we drive by, I'll point out the grocery store. There's a nice Ace Hardware store, a really good pizza place. It's to me, it's a little on the expensive side, but it's a heavy tourist area. With tip and everything, a pizza's going to cost you, over $25. And a good, like a 20% tipper, large pizza. But they're very good. I think now I've been there at least twice this year and twice last year. Get a big pizza, and it'll cost me $27 or something for a big pizza, $26 or $27. But I'll get 3 meals out of it. So that's not too bad. I don't know about real estate prices. My instinct, whatever good that is, because I've never been in the real estate business or really know much about it, then my impression is that Angel Fire is a little higher end than Eagle Nest, but I could be wrong. going to guess the prices would be higher here than Eagle Nest. Trying to center that camera a little better for you. You can see everything. I think. You know, I know a lot of you notice things like when the sound isn't like the sound's going to be tough right now because it's getting hot in here. I would suffer, but I don't want Dottie and George to suffer. So there's a lot of background noise here, and I'll probably use a editing thing in the software to get rid of the background noise, and it's going to make my voice sound a little funky. So a lot of people say, hey, you know, can you do something about the sound, your voice? You're hard to hear. I have to turn it all the way up. Or, you know, things didn't seem totally in focus, and clean your windshield, clean your lens. And I get it. I wish I don't have the time or frankly the inclination to do all these things optimally because, like I said, I'm not trying to earn a living doing this. I'm trying to have fun doing it. And I won't do it anymore if it stops being fun. So I'm kind of doing my best. I've got all these different cameras I'm experimenting with and trying to find the ones that will work for me. And I'm guessing I was going to say the camera I took down will probably be ready, cooled down, but I can't put my hand on it. I don't know where the hell it is. It must have fallen it back or something, which is not a good thing to have that camera for. It's pretty delicate. So probably if there's an easy place to pull over when I get into Angel Fire here, I'll probably pull over and look for it. It's very odd. I thought I put it right next to me. Evidently, I did not. Dottie, did you take it? That's so odd. Well, I know it's in the truck, right? It can't be outside the truck. So frantically looking around for something that you lost in the car is a pretty dangerous thing to do. So I'm going to kind of let that go until we can safely pull over and I can scan around and I'll let you know where it was. But I'm like, it's not on the center console. It's not on the seat beside me. It's not between my legs. It's not over with Dottie. They must have slipped somewhere. Getting a little fast here. 2 miles an hour over the speed limit. Let's slow her down. 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. And we're about to be slowed to 40. No one's behind me, so I'm not slowing anybody down. I think you saw maybe a glimpse of the lake to the left here. A lot of people having a nice sunny day at the lake. It's Montverde Lake, it's called. It's a little small lake, I would say, on the edge between a big pond and a small lake. I always noticed this sign here that had a horse with a rider on it, and I realized because up here on the right is sort of a horse-person RV park for people with horses. RV Park Stables, it's called. Pretty neat. And then up here on the left, there's a nice golf course. It's a public golf course. If you're a golfer and come out here, you can play around the golf. And even during like 4th of July week and stuff, as I came by here, it did not look crowded with golfers. Like I see this foursome on a green here. I don't see anyone behind them. And it's 11:45 on Thursday. I was talking to Deborah this. I think it was Deborah. No, it was Sally. I was talking to on the phone, and I said, I got it. I want to confess something to you. An RV life thing that I just find so odd is that every time I get ready to do a travel day, I get nervous about towing my RV, and that evaporates like within a minute or two of uh, driving. Like I'm not at all nervous right now, but I get nervous before doing it. I don't know. I don't thoroughly here's the psychotherapist that doesn't understand his own mind, but I don't think that's unusual. But she assured me that's not an unusual thing. I think one of the dynamics, not the only one, is that right now, guys, everything, physical thing, and including Dottie and George, that I own or possess in the world is right here, right now. I mean, it's all right here. And if something were to happen, I think about what's at risk for me. Think about towing your house or apartment down the road. Right now I'm doing 40 miles an hour with all your pets and your kids in it. It's it doesn't completely explain the phenomenon, but it explains some of it. I think one of the other things is I'm very sensitive to any news story or anecdotal story about a horrific experience that our full-time RVer has, or any RVer. Like, you'll see a YouTube video of every year in Quartzsite, RVs burst into flames and they're gone in minutes. And many times I've been at Quartzsite and seen the column of black smoke going up, within a mile or two of me, knowing, and here we are, we're passing the grocery store on the left, and it's the same little shopping place it's called Angel Fired Pizza. Just on your left there. And there's a dollar store and a family dollar like across the street from each other up here. Several gas stations. There's a Valero right there. And there's the Dollar General on the left, and I believe it's a Family Dollar. But there's a Dollar General on the right here, and a Family Dollar on the left. And it's kind of funny. Both of them have these gorgeous mountainous backdrops that are, stunning setting for a dollar store. I'm sure there are ones all over like Colorado that are like that in other states too. So, I don't know. And right there we're passing the Ace True Value. I keep saying Ace Hardware. It's a True Value hardware. So I'm looking, I think there's like a construction place on this turn up here that I could pull over and look for that. Whatever the hell happened to my camera when I took it off the dash. Let it cool down. But I'm not going to look until I'm safely pulled over. There's a guy pulled over there that's got a problem with his windshield or something. So we're outside of Angel Fire, and up here very shortly we're going to be making a right, and we're going to go about 10 miles to get to Eat Rest. So I'm going to turn this off right now. So I'm going to give my full attention to finding a place to pull over. When I turn it back on, I'll let you know where the hell the camera is. Well, I found it, obviously. Here I am. Well, I found it. I had to get out of the car and crawl around, and it did fall into the back floorboards, which shame on me. That's a very delicate, expensive instrument. And I obviously clumsily put it on the center console. And so I was talking about things that I'm not proud of about myself. And that's one of them is lack of attention to taking care of things. I've come a long way, but this is evidence that it needs to be about progress, not perfection, because it really is. It's a problem. This is the camera is called the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and it's a really sophisticated camera with a gimbal. Look, I move and the camera follows me. And it's a $600 camera. Now, granted, I also spent money for accidental insurance because I know myself. But it's still no excuse for me not to be mindful and gentle with things that cost a lot of money. I think that there are a number of levels that this concerns me about myself. And one is that I think if you're reckless with your spending and not taking care of your things is a form of being reckless with spending, I think that there's an irresponsibility to more than just yourself involved. If I'm mindful of the money that I spend, I might have more money to spend on others and causes that I might be interested in. And that's why I think it goes beyond just purely personal things. My friend Tim that I camp with in Quartzsite is always telling me, Rob, slow down. You need to slow down. And and it's his way of saying you need to be mindful and careful. Right? Because I will, do something that causes something to break, and because he knows what he's doing, he'll come to my rescue often, and he'll give really heartfelt, well-meaning advice, and it usually is, Rob, and especially when I'm working on a project and he's trying to coach me through it, he'll like, just take your time, slow down. And Tim's not perfect either. We're going through now. He broke something of his when he got frustrated and rushed trying to repair something last year, and he called himself out on it, though. I certainly didn't. I got no business calling out anybody on that kind of thing. So this is the intersection on Highway 64, New Mexico 64. To the left will take you through another, I wouldn't say treacherous, but daunting and beautiful mountain pass to Taos, New Mexico, more of an urban center in this part of New Mexico. And to the right here, in about 10 miles, will be an Eagle Nest, and at our destination. It'll be a pretty good time, and it's about 3 minutes to 12. And she said, don't come until after 12, so I will be a man of my word, and I will not be arriving until after 12. Now, this site is going to be nothing like the wonderful, beautiful, isolated site I had at Coyote Creek. This is in an RV park. Now, granted, it's very small. It's kind of on a hill overlooking the lake, but, I'm going to have, within feet, people on either side of me. I mean, it's the nature of RV parks. Even though this is a fairly expensive one, there I go again. That's saying is very much like saying when I don't know what the next word is. That phrase you and know it's meaningless. It really is. if you did know, why am I bothering to tell you? So it doesn't really make any logical sense. It's a word whisker. It's a phrase that at least I and many other people throw out there instead of what I would say is pauses can be elegant when you're speaking. Like that. You know, there's a pause and well, I wonder what's next. A little bit of anticipation instead of just throwing junk words out that don't convey any message. Now, as you look up here, to me, it looks like a mining operation or something. I've never really quite understood what's going on up here. It's on the right. You see big piles of, looks like dirt, heavy equipment, some kind of mining, I'm going to guess. So if you're from the area and you know, please tell me what we're looking at in the comments. That'd be really great. So I'm checking my speed here. I don't know if I mentioned what happened the other day. I was with Donna and Sally. Sorry, I'm watching trucks crossing up here. There's a big truck coming out. Well, you see it. Well, you might not. It's kind of, it looks closer to me than it does to you on the screen. That big truck is pulling out. We were on a road trip and I was coming into Mora and there was a police car coming the other way, and as he approached me, he turned on his lights and sirens, which was a little startling. And then I noticed as soon as he passed me, he turned them off. And I thought to myself, and I think I wondered out loud, was that meant for me? And then I looked down at my speedometer and I was doing 45, and the Garmin showed I was in a 25 mile an hour zone. So it was for me. And I was fully expecting him to find a place to turn around and come after me and sight me. And while there are two reasons that that happened, I was probably talking like I am now and not paying attention. But I do have a Garmin that will give an audible alert when the speed limit's about to change. And foolishly, I had gotten tired of doing videos and having putting things in the GPS locations and having it talk during my video, so I turned the volume off. Learned that lesson quick. As soon as I got the chance, I went in there and turned the volume back on, and so I'm aware when the speed limit is changing. I got very lucky. I did not get a moving violation. That would have been 20 over the speed limit. That's terrible. And disrespectful to that little community I was driving through. So that's one of the nice things about Garmin, having that little alert. That doesn't mean you don't need to pay attention to the signs on the road and what you're doing. And I think I do a pretty good job, even when I'm talking like this, vlogging while I'm driving. I'm talking, and you might notice haltingly so, and I'm consciously trying not to throw those ahs and ums in your nose in there, but it's especially halting because I'm paying attention to what's on the road, and I will stop talking without warning momentarily while I process something that I'm seeing coming up ahead, like that truck back there. You know, the truck's pulling out. Is there one behind it? Should I be ready to brake? Which is a thing when you're in an RV, like a Class C, Class A, pulling a trailer, pulling a fifth wheel. Braking is a much bigger deal than when you're in a car. It takes much longer to stop the vehicle when you have all that weight. And here's the thing with full timers. As full-timers, we are often overweight for obvious reasons, right? Obvious reason being all our stuff is with us, so we carry a lot more stuff normally than a recreational RVer that has a regular house or apartment or condo, and they're just taking their RV out for vacations. They don't feel the need to put everything they own in it to go on vacation. We have everything we own in it, and everything we own tends to be heavy. When we get up to, the name of the RV park is Weathers, Weathers, Weathers RV Park in Eagle Nest, New Mexico. They have a website. I have a bit of an advantage coming into here because on one of my trips with Sally and Donna, we went by there and I quickly pulled in and introduced myself, asked where my site was, and went and checked it out. So I know exactly where I'm going. So there's none of that. That's a usual thing, when you're traveling by RV and you're normally going to unfamiliar places, and it's a little stressful. Okay, where's my site? How am I going to be able to get into my site? Can I pull through? And God forbid, do I have to back in? And in this case, guys, I have to back in. Now, the site that I came out of, I had to back in, but it was so large. Anyone with any semblance of backup skills could have gotten into that site. This one, no, it's a tight site between two other sites, but there is a way to pull forward and be able to back straight in, which is a godsend. If you know anything about backing a trailer, if you can get straight and back straight, that's golden. It's when you have to angle into a spot that's where real skill is involved. And many people are lucky enough to have a partner they travel with so they can stand and guide you. But I travel alone. Well, there's Dottie and George, but they can't get out of the truck and back me like a person, unfortunately. As much as I'd love Dottie to do that for me, that's not going to happen. I do have a backup camera. As nice as a backup camera is, it's still risky. So, I said again, didn't I? In the interest of you seeing what my real life is like when we get there, you will be able to see me struggle with backing into the spot. And it's gonna involve me getting in and out of the car. It's the way I hitch as well. I have two cameras that point towards the hitch. Two. And still I have to get in and out of the car to get that little ball in the right place where I can hitch up. Every once in a while I get lucky and the camera gets me in the right spot, but usually I'll have to get out of the car and walk back and check and get back and back up and get in and out. I think today 4 or 5 times I had to do it. I kept missing the mark. So we're in Eagle Nest now. I have reduced speed limit all the way down to 30. So we're going to apply some brakes here to get to that 30-mile speed limit a little quicker. It's pretty sudden. Wasn't much warning. I should have remembered that. So we're off cruise control. We're going to slow to 30 miles an hour. We are passing Golden Eagle RV Park. Not quite the dramatic view of the one I'm going to. Golden RV Park, very nice people. I did a video on them last year that I think I'll if I remember when I do the editing, I'll put it at the end of this one so you can see it. I didn't do a full tour. I just talked about my experience there. They were very nice to me. It was really tough to get packages here. The post office in Eagle Nest is not very friendly towards anything other than postal service on general delivery. So you're a bit out of luck if you're, on Amazon or FedEx or UPS. But this place, free of charge, allowed me to send my packages to them. So that was very nice. I got medications that that I needed that were refrigerated, and when they got it, they put it in a refrigerator for me. So nice. But this is the quaint little town of Eagle Nest, and you can kind of see how cool it looks, and maybe you can see the reason why I wanted to hang out here for a couple of weeks. The reviews of the RV park say it's an easy walk into the town here from the RV park, so you know we're pretty close. I think it's little under a half a mile from town. And even if I don't want to walk, I have my e-bike, and my e-bike with a little trailer for Dottie, so Dottie can come with me. Lots of little shops and restaurants, and like I mentioned, there are fishing shops, fly fishing shops, ice cream parlor. There's all sorts of goings on the weekends. There's like a little area that has like bands and vendors and stuff. It's kind of cool. So we're through the main part of town, and the RV park is going to be up on the right here. I'll have to pay attention because I didn't GPS it or anything. But it's kind of hard to miss. But if I miss it, guess what? I'll drive until there's a safe turnaround. It could be miles, and I'll be patient and turn around. That's a big thing. You're towing an RV, especially in like a busy area, like an urban thing, and you're going to miss an exit, and you think you're going to miss it. Well, you know what? Just friggin' miss it. It's not worth it. And I believe it's up here on the right. I'm certain it's up on the right. I'm going too slow for this guy, but he's got plenty of room to pass me. And you'll see when I turn that it's right on the lake here. Very nice. Weathers RV Park, we are here. And I'm back around the back. Yes. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I know where it is. You told me the other day, and I went and checked it out. I'm good. And I'll be in with the check, okay? Oh, there's rain coming? So that was nice. She said, "Are you Mr. Wakely?" That's so nice. It's right there on the right. So we'll see how we do. We're going to pull up here, and then we're going to try to back in. So this is a really easy back-end job. It was straight, but this is going to take a long time, and let me tell you why. It's pretty close together with neighbors, and on one side there was a camper truck with a tent, and the tent was right on the edge of my site. And what I wanted to do was not be right next to the tent. And it just didn't feel right. So I was spent a lot of time here trying to strike a balance between being away from that tent and not being too close to the neighbors on the other side. And what I eventually ended up doing was I did my best, and then I went and introduced myself to both neighbors and made sure they were both okay with how I was parked. And this took a lot more maneuvering than you would guess. And if it was just I needed to be in the middle of the site, I think I'd be pretty much done now. But it needed to be so precise that I'm doing a voiceover here, and I'm thinking I'm remembering I think I got out of this truck 3 or 4 times during this. If you decide that you're going to be pulling a trailer, if you don't have experience, it can be a very steep learning curve on how to properly back a trailer. And you'll find that the moves that you need to make with the steering wheel are counterintuitive. They're the opposite of what you would think. And it's not that you discover that and everything's fine. You tend to, I don't know what had the camera just sort of bumped up there. I don't discover it for a while, but this is one of the many times I get out and I survey exactly where I am, what adjustments I need to make. What I'm trying to say is that oversteering is very common. And I really think that's because you steer and you just don't get that immediate feedback from the trailer. So you steer more, and then when it goes too far. And then you try to steer less and you understeer, and it doesn't go. I find it fascinating that and also this is what I've heard, and I believe it. And if you are an expert and you call me out on saying something that's totally wrong, I'm totally open to that and to the comments. But I'm told that double axle trailers are harder to control and back than a single axle trailer. I believe it. But you'll see here in a minute, I do eventually get it in there. And I think I'm a little out of sync, a few seconds out of sync with the only reason I'm making an picture out the window and me, because you can see it got adjusted with me not in there. Obviously, I did that. Right on the edge of the site, and I want to get as far away from it as possible. I don't want to disturb them. So I'm kind of pulling forward, and you can see that I could pull up that road over a little bit, and I could back straight into the spot. So I don't have a lot of excuses for the number of times it took me to get. The other thing that I was trying to do was, this was a pretty level spot, and I was like, I think I can back in here and I won't need to put anything under any of the wheels to level. And so I was trying to do 2 things simultaneously. 3 things, actually, now that I think about it. And here's my site. Now, understand, this is an RV park, so it's not going to be as spacious. I met both my neighbors. They're really nice. But check out, there is a view here at my site, but we got to walk to the back of it. And it's a little overcast, not very sunny, but So I just walk a couple of feet back here, and it's kind of a common area right back here by their work shed. Check it out. There's the lake. There's Eagle Nest Lake. Isn't that beautiful? And we're at 8,300 feet. Nice and cool every day, 70 degrees. And this, that's it. Beautiful. And I'll be showing you a lot more of Eagle Nest in the coming days in the surrounding area. And forward to it. Pretty windy. Look, I'm all ready to go. Got the bike ready. Real short ride into town. And before we sign off, we'll see what Dottie's up to. There's Dottie. Say hello to everybody, Dottie. Have you been a good girl today? Did you get to ride in the car? Did you get to ride in the car? All right, I'll take you for a walk in a minute. Hang on. Well, guys, as usual, I want to thank you for watching my video. I'll see you on the next one. I appreciate you. Thank you.